Good afternoon, everyone. We are back with more U Talk. So, previously we've discussed what the Murray-Darling is, because apparently 75% of Australians don't actually know, which I find beggars belief, but a lot of things beggar belief, and part of the, I guess, utilitarian approach to things is accepting information that doesn't necessarily reconcile itself with your worldview and adjusting your worldview to fit the facts. So 75% of the people in this country don't really understand where their food comes from. And that's horrifying and now something that I'm aware of. But also regarding utilitarianism, turns out that our learned colleague Kyle over here has programmed his own timer to determine how long U Talk episodes should run for. And did his own calculations because they were simple. I quote, so I'm just going to drag him for a moment here. Kyle, you dense motherfucker.
So
This is
what
a
happened
solved
was
problem. This is
what
a
happened.
solved problem, Kyle. There are so many tools for this, and you had to reinvent the wheel, and you probably made the calculations a little bit skew.
Look, I messed up the calculations somehow,
It's
and
okay. It's okay. It's working out for the
basically,
best.
yeah, it's like converting base 100 to base 60. So converting like the regular decimal to seconds,
Okay, so you're operating
and
in French time. Gotcha. In any case, it is time for the second question now that I'm done dragging Kyle. With regards to the Murray-Darling River system, now, you were quite insistent that the Murray-Darling River system is in a state of perpetual disaster. Your words
yes,
last session.
yes.
I'm going to soften that just a touch. Why is the Murray-Darling River completely cooked? Why is the river system in a state of perpetual ecological challenge? Why is it a disaster zone?
This is the point where I come in and
Yeah, tell
yeah,
me what they did
wonderful.
to my boy Kyle.
Your darling little boy, literally partly named Darling. Yeah, they screwed him hard. Basically, okay, so there's a couple of things that are absolutely destroying the Murray-Darling River system. And honestly,
I know one of them is cotton.
yes. So okay, there's a few. Okay, cotton is part of it, but cotton's so we need to separate it into causes, the people or entities behind the causes, and its effects. So the people or entities behind the causes are cotton farmers,
Corruption.
speculators. Well, that's the causes. I'm talking about the people behind it.
Yeah,
So
corrupt people.
yes, corrupt people, particularly the Nationals Party. They they were in government at the federal and state level in New South Wales and federal level Australia. Um, the Nationals essentially controlled water policy, and they controlled water management, and they basically stacked all of the government departments which had anything to do with the Murray-Darling, such as the Murray-Darling Basin Authority, the what's it called? It's a Department of Water Resources at the federal level and the state level. I'm getting the name wrong, but basically the department that handles water resources at both levels of government, and anything else. And so that led to effectively their donors, cotton farmers, speculation firms, some of which are surprisingly from Canada. That seems to be the bulk of them are from Canada for some reason. Some of them from
Yeah,
China as
that
well.
happens. So
Um,
I just want to quickly jump in here. I've just quickly pulled up the Nationals website, and let me tell you, that's gonna throw off my Google suggestions for weeks. So I hope you appreciate what I'm sacrificing here.
I appreciate it.
And their site says, and I quote, the Nationals are the party for regional Australia. The Nationals stand for all regional Australians. Are you telling me that someone would just lie on the internet?
I know it beggars belief. but to be the bearer of bad news, to be the Bruno, because I've been watching way too much Encanto lately, to be the Bruno of this YouTube channel. Yes.
We don't talk about Bruno, no, no, no. We don't talk about Bruno. And that's under 10 seconds, so Disney can't sue us.
Yes. So many things I'd like to say about that, but we don't have time. Got to keep on the actual topic. So, why is a disaster zone?
The Nats who alleged to be for regional Australia screwed the pooch by selling out parts of regional Australia, thus depriving other parts of regional Australia of food and water security. Yeah?
Yeah. So this is so they sold out to their donors, cotton farmers, water speculators, anyone who's got, a few $1,000 to throw at them. And then
I only need a few $1,000 to get rich. Damn.
Apparently.
This corruption stuff, this sounds like a better and better idea every time you tell me about it.
Oh, please. I know you're joking, but I want to rage so freaking hard anyway.
Oh yeah, no.
It's funny because it's true.
This goes on record that if I become a corrupt bastard, if I misuse office, if I misuse public trust, Kyle is like contractually obliged to run me through with a goddamn sword.
You know what? I want to be forging swords soon. So that's actually
But forgery is a crime.
No. The other kind of forgery with an anvil.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
But back to the river system. It's a disaster zone, and the Nats have screwed the pooch. And now, what's the effect of that?
Before we can get to the exact causes, we need to dispel a few myths. It is not a natural disaster in the Murray-Darling.
No, it's an artificial disaster.
It's entirely man-made. We caused it. Well, not me and you specifically, and not the viewers of this wonderful show.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I pissed on a tree somewhere near the river system once upon a time.
Well, but that's fairness, watering a plant. It's actually a good thing. That's watering a plant, though. It's actually a good thing. And apparently, there's nutrients in piss, so you helped it actually.
Sure.
So essentially, the reasons for it is there's floodplain harvesting, which we talked about what a floodplain is in the previous episode. Floodplain harvesting is where, as the rain is falling or just after it's fallen, when it's still in the floodplain and it hasn't really flowed into the rivers yet, you then harvest as much of that water as possible. Now, that actually...
With no consideration to the sustainability of the floodplain, because you've got your water, so screw everyone else.
Exactly, and that leads to water downstream just being non-existent. And also, when a river runs dry, when the river is dried out, it requires a lot more water to rejuvenate that, to liquefy the river itself, because you have to put more moisture into the soil around the river before it will properly flow as a river.
Otherwise, it'll just drink it up. But also, I've been listening to too much Hunters and Collectors recently, because the moment you've said it, just... When the river runs dry, you will return to the scene of the crime.
Yeah,
which seems very apt. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Oh god, wow. But yeah, okay. Not too long left though, so let's get into this very efficiently. Something we're very good at, because ultra professional we are.
Ultra professional and given to impromptu karaoke.
Yes.
Vote 1, the karaoke party.
All right. Focus. So it ends up being constantly a disaster because so that has a couple of effects. First, it takes a lot more water just to re-moisturize the soil along the river banks and get that river properly working. Then, because it takes that, over time, the health of the river essentially just keeps degrading. It keeps getting more and more dry on average. And that means that, downriver towns like Wilcannia, they at one point spent, I think it was 6 to 8 months without water. Like, absolutely no water on the river. They had to have it trucked in, not by the government, but by a private benefactor who felt sorry for them and was just like, yeah, I'll get you guys some water.
This sounds very similar to what was happening in Walgett. I think it was about I think it's actually an ongoing issue in Walgett.
I haven't heard much about that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Of course you haven't heard much about it. They've all run out of water and bloody expired.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, that's a little glib, but certainly there was an ongoing drought affecting Walgett because they did not have a sufficient supply of water.
Yes. And so that's what happens to the towns downstream. And it's, and also the then you might have heard about the fish kills. Now the fish kills, a lot of they seem to be, the fish kills are blamed in the media a lot on drought and on heat waves. But if the river system was as functional as it normally would be, then there wouldn't be that drought. There wouldn't be that there wouldn't be those fish kills. Essentially, it's not a product of drought. It's a product of the degradation of the river system itself. Now, as well as that, you've probably heard about floods in the Murray-Darling more recently. Now, the
floods in the Murray-Darling, never heard of them.
Yes, well, we're really running out of time, and I wish I'd got into this sooner. So real quickly, Australian weather, and particularly how much rain the Murray-Darling gets, is affected by two systems. There's the ENSO events in the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean dipole. They're basically kind of the same thing. It's where warmer water and thus currents and wind patterns shift on a semi regular basis. And so if both of them go into, so they each have three phases. It's like positive, neutral, and negative. And if they both go into I think it's both negative phases, then it gets really wet. Both positive phases, it gets really dry. But if one's in, a positive phase and the other's in a negative, then it's kind of in the middle.
Sort of in balance.
Yeah. Now, lately, what we've seen and what the best climate scientists have predicted is that at least for the foreseeable future, we are going to have longer phases and they are going to coincide more. So we're going to have longer periods of drought and longer periods of flooding.
Non-drought, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it's going to oscillate between the opposites with very little between them. So hence we've gone from flooding to fish kills in the span of a few months.
Yeah.
And so
really difficult to just keep track of conceptually too.
Yeah, it's like, it's like the whole thing was flooding, but then in part due to floodplain harvesting, and due to, this new weather system as a result of global warming fueled climate change, it's very much goes straight from one to the other. So we've gone straight from absolute perfect conditions for fish breeding to,
perfect conditions for fish murder.
Yeah, I think it's the third fish kill with over 1 million fish dying in the last 5 years or so. And yet we're not even getting many reports on it. The first one, tons of reports. This one, barely any now. But we've run a little over time now, so we'll let you go. And in the next episode, we'll talk about how we might be able to fix all of this. For now, thanks for watching. I hope this was informative, and we'll catch you later.
Honestly, this one ends on a downer.
We'll pick it
so
up. If you
want your mood picked up, watch the next one.
Yes.